Friends, today we're going to look out how Hyperledger Fabric can be deployed over Kubernetes using the config generator tool that has been developed. So I have a node running here, which is Ubuntu 18 LTS version, Ubuntu Server 18 version, and now I have a tool. I'm going to create a config generator tool using this one, how the customers can going to work in our environment. Also, just before that, if you want to more details, you can take a look here. So what are the product functionality that going to, you can change, modify everything. It is there. So it is the passwords, username, passwords are there. And if you have any concerns or if you want to fine tune, you can always raise PR request over through GitHub. So it has been considered and it will be overlooked on this part. Okay, let's log into this now. So I have a menu here now. So you can read out here how that works out. So in Hyperledger, I'm going to choose a Hyperledger Fabric version. That is what the framework that I have chosen it. Follow to that, Explorer prerequisites are there. So for the sample of this, I already did this part, prerequisites Fabric. So once you select this, it will ask you an email. So once you provide an email, it will send that script to your email. So you download and run that script in your fresh Ubuntu machine. So it will install all the prerequisites requirement to run the Fabric version. So I have done this part. Then I have also installed Minikube in that system. I have done the Minikube in the system as well. So the prerequisites are done now. Because it takes time, I can cover, if you need, please comment over down, so I can cover the separate session for the Minikube and prerequisites. So for this session, I am going to cover only about the Fabric, how the customization are going to work with the Kubernetes pods. Okay, right. Now let's select here Hyperledger Fabric number 1, and I have a choice to choose from 1.4.3 to 2.2.0. So however, I'm going to the latest one, which is 2.2, and it is asking me to the custom configuration of Hyperledger, so I can provide my demos. So I'm going to say a sample domain, sampledomain.com, and it is asking me organizations, how many organizations you want to deploy. So for now, I'm going to do 2. You can say any numbers, right? 3, 4, 5, whatever the domains, whatever the organizations that you would like to. You can create organizations, so it will be added into those configuration scripts. Well, so for now, I'm going to default. So I can give some custom name for the organization name, my org 1 and my org 2, and it asking for the default peer names. Either you can give the number, default is 0, so I'm good with that 2, and you can also name the peer names here. What are the peer names? So I can go for now as a default peer name 0 and 1, and for the Kubernetes we configured with the template of 3 orderers. So I'm going to select 3 orders we need. So order name, you can name it. I can go to put order 0, ORD 1, ORD 2. You can also name it the default names. Number of CS, it needs 2 CS because I have selected the 2 organizations. So by default it is a 1 because it is always compiled with a single node environment. So I consider it as a 1 for the default CS. For Kubernetes, I just configure with the 2 CS so that it can be further configured or further explored on this area. That's why it is a 2 CS for that. and the name is CA1, CA2, or if you want to give some other name, you can give some other names as well. Chain code channel is yes, default is 1 for now for the demonstration purpose, and if you want, you can give a number of channels, and it is going to create channel number. Yes, channel name is default channel 1. My channel is channel. So once you've done this, the background, it starts configuring the configuration 2 files and Docker Compose files, and as well as Kubernetes files. So here it asks for the type of orderer, what type of order, whether we want to do a solo or raft. Raft is nowadays, the raft is becoming a default one because solo is going to deprecate it. So I'm going to choose a raft here, and what environment I would like to deploy this configuration. I have a choice of single host or Docker Swarm or Kubernetes. Since this demonstration is purpose of Kubernetes, I'm going to choose Kubernetes over here. And so for the Kubernetes configurations, it will definitely, you need a name to have a namespace. You can give any namespace, either you can give a default namespace what I have mentioned over here, or you can default, or you can do whatever your choice is. So for now demonstration, I'm going to always go into a default one. So now it is done now. So it is asking to generate send the configuration files which is generated. I'm going to choose yes and provide my email address. Yeah, that's all. So successfully you can send here. You see here successfully the mail was sent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this. Okay, so I am there now with the server. I logged in. Okay, that's Ubuntu 18 version. Now if you look here, I have files that I downloaded. Okay, so in this system currently it is the images are downloaded, Kubernetes was installed, prerequisite is of Fabric runtime all got installed. Right, all of them are in the Fabric samples. Right, so I'm going to go into this Fabric as a prerequisite of this. So we have to go into this Fabric samples directory where you have to download all the default repository from JIT. Now I'm going to create a new directory called mkdir, and I say demo, k8s demo. Okay, so I'm going to go into this directory, it is demo, and copy that file to this location. So I have this in my location. Okay, so I'm going to untar this file. I have this file sets. So these are the file sets that you will receive from the config generated tool over the emails. Okay, you can remove this file or you can leave it as it is, not a problem. So first you have to do is you have to source this file to readme.k8s first. So if you do that, it is going to tell you what you are supposed to do as a prerequisite part of this. You have to do mount this your current folder. Okay, changing working directories on this part. So your working directory is this, so you can use this as a mount directory, and you have to start executing this files. Okay, you have to executing these commands, right? So for now I have to generate this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give the folder it is asking, and it's been configured with the current folder. Okay, now then I see that the first command, it has been told that I have to run this, right? Yeah, so it generated the crypto materials artifacts for the configurations. It's generated. Then I asked to replace keys. Done. Then I asked to do deploy. I can always do deploy. You can see the files that are going to execute all this. K8s deploy. So before that, you have to mount the current folder structure, which we forgot it, right? So I'm going to mount this now. There's a Minikube, and also I didn't start the Minikube as well, right? So I'm going to start Minikube. This is a Docker environment, Minikube Docker environment. So I'll pause for a seconds here because Minikube takes some time. Okay, so now you look out at Kubernetes was started, the Docker environment, right? We have to mount, as I told that we have to move mount here. So I'm going to move mount Q mount. Run this in the background, right? So this is going to be run in the background. Okay. Now this, because these are locations where we are mounting this, because the persistent volume of the data, the 10 core data will be stored in that particular location. So we have been mounted that. Okay. Now the next action that we have to do is deploy. So the Kubernetes configurations are such a way is designed that a deployment as well as services. So each pod has their own services. So you can modify or you can follow the same thing that is going to suit. So yes, now you can see here we have CA1, CA2 on my org1 is running, and we have a 2 CLIs environment where we can going to run separately with all individual commands for invoking and querying the chain code transactions. And we have the orderer which is also running, 3 orderers, and we have 2 peers. Each organization have 1 peer which is on peer 0, which is all running on it now, right? Let's join now. So I'm going to join. Fantastic. Fantastic. So I have created, I have joined the network. The peers are joined the network, the channels, and also updated the anchor peers for organization 1, and peer 0 from organization 2 also joined the channel, and also updated the anchor peers. Okay. Now we do. So what we have to do next? So now we have to do build a container, chain code container, as a, because we are going to launch a excluding the chain code containers from the network. So we are going to build that now. So I'm going to build. So this is Marvel's chain code that I have taken it. For this is building it chain code container now as a image container, Docker container. This feature is introduced in 2.2, so hence a good one that I can say. So now we built a chain code marbles, and this is a bit tagged the image name here. Okay. Now I'm going to install this chain code on. I'm going to install the chain code on the each peers, right? To get the marbles ID. Okay, so far good. Yeah, it is able to install on peer 0 on org1, and it is also able to approve for arg1. You can see here. So it is get approved, and still waiting for MSP R2 has to get approved, and this is our CC ID, Marble ID, so which is very important because this is going to help us to launch the containers, chain code containers, and this is R2 CC IDs, right? So we have two different CC IDs, which is we are going to deploy it on the chain codes. These are all automated into the scripts. If you are able to read the scripts, you will easily understand those. So now you can see here organizations are both are approved, right? True. Now I'm going to start the CC. So and now I'm going to start the CCs where it will launch the build containers with the help of CC IDs. Containers were launched on both organizations. Now the transaction started initiating it on the Marbles transaction. The first initiate was successful, and the second was invoked some transactions on Marbles, and also it's getting queried. So you can see that the Marble 1 color blue size that it was invoked and it get queried from the arg1. Now it is switching to arg2 with that CLI R2 container, and also getting querying it. So you can also able to see that the invoke transaction on arg1 you can able to see on arg2. Okay, now second invoke was happening at my organization 2, also getting invoked. You have successful and also queried on the same CLI container on R2, where this was that, and it was able to query it, right? So this is now let's we have to launch Explorer. So how that's going to be, right? So I'm going to launch Explorer. Okay, my Explorer was able to launch and it is running. Right now, if I want to see logs, whether it is able to join the data from the containers, you can see always kubectl logs pods, the pod name, then hlf k8s. So you can see here it was able to pull the data, right? It is pulling the data. Okay, generate block 7. So till this block 8 it was running. And let's see that we can launch the URL, right? So for that, since it is a headless Ubuntu 18 server, there is no graphical UI interface desktops. So but for that I have X manager was running inside, so I'm going to launch that. So Firefox was installed here. Okay, so before Firefox I have to start my services in my local system, because currently it is exposed in the Kubernetes ports, right? So you can see that so this is the port that we have to use, which is running on this virtual machine. So you can do curl to check the text format. So yes, it's running. So now I'm going to expose this. I'm just doing the X launch. Okay, fine. So this is because the display environment is not set, was because of I couldn't put the X forward session. So I'm going to run this from the separate one. So here you have to go and put enable forward localhost colon 0, right? So once you have this and open the D session, okay, so now you log in here and right, so you can log in here. So now you run the Firefox. Yeah, so it will get open out on this part. Now if you run this, you can put the port, so you will start seeing the transactions. So anyway, this is not running because of the cache. I'm going to clean up the cache, or I'm going to put a private window. Hope this one will come up. Yeah, okay. So that's transactions that we have done this. My peer 0 was there, and my order was showing. Why other orders are not showing? Because I added only one order in the connection file, so that's why it is showing one. You have MSP IDs and organizations, and you have block transactions. You can see all the block transactions that you can do visibilities, right? And you can see here now completely like our endorsers are arg1 and arg2, and you have valid codes, right? And you can completely chain code is marble 1, and what was the transaction was happened, the last transaction is marble 2. So you completely do transactions in that, right? So that's where you can able to explore the Hyperledger fabric in using Kubernetes cluster. The same thing is also available in single node without Kubernetes cluster. Instructions into file. You just read it and start deploying it your fabric network. Okay. That's all I'm doing it. So later the part I'm going to add a fabcar chain code, and also I'm going to put caliper in this place. So how that we can do caliper our networks, right? So this for demonstration purpose. Thank you. Please do comment or drop me an email, or you can follow me on the GitHub, so that I can take your comments seriously, and wherever it is possible, definitely I try to fine tune or add up the additional features into the existing scripts. Thank you.